So, hello everyone. It's me again, Javel Delima, your podcast buddy, and this is our second week of our AMA. Ask me anything about podcasting. So, all things podcasting. Let's talk about podcasting. On also, you can drop your questions in the comments, and you can ask questions in advance in the form I have in the comment section. All right, so I will be checking first the live if we are already live. All right, we are already live. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on um, YouTube, and of course we are live on Facebook. All right, so here and also today, we are going to talk about the questions that I got from from you. All right. So I have here some of list of questions we can talk about today, all about podcasting. All right. So yeah. So if you're watching this right now, and if you have questions about podcasting, you can drop them on the comment section and let's talk about it. And also, if you want to join me here on my live stream, you can join by messaging me and you can absolutely join me. So, all right, let's start with the first question. How do I come up with content ideas for my podcast? This is kind of deep question for the for being a first question. All right. So, um thinking about talking about content ideas for your podcast, you don't necessarily need to come up with content ideas with your podcast because your podcast is already um, a long form content that you can create short form contents out of it. First example of that is you can create clips out of it. You can extract clips from your podcast episode, and you can create infographics. You can get the advices, the highlights of the conversation, and put it into clips, and you can put it into infographics. So, and of course, you can add by sharing your personal stories and connect it with the topics that you talk about in the podcast, like that industry news, all right, and talk about your guest. All right, since you are going to start a podcast, podcasting is not about you as a host. Podcasting is about your guest. All right, so yeah, so to come up with content ideas with your podcast, you just need to repurpose your content into short form content. So it's kind of it's already there to promote it because not most of your audience might not get into your full episode, listen to your full episode or watch your full episode, but they can or they might see or watch or listen to your short form contents because most of them are on social media. All right, and most of them also does not have much time on the full episode, but they might have time on the 1 minute video of you talking with your guest, sharing your message, something like that. So, yeah, I think I can pop up here the questions from. Alright, I think I can pop up here the questions. Hmm. Let's um, put the question in the screen so people can um, can see what or read what we are talking about. All right. So I am just I am just um finding it how I can put a. All right. So please share your question here on the comment section, and let's talk about that. If you have any questions about podcasting, if you want to start podcast, if you already have a podcast but you are on pause or you're stuck on promoting your podcast episodes, so let's talk about that. Right. So chat live media. Let me find first how I'm going to add questions on the live. All right. I guess I already use it in the first episode, on the first live. And I can't find it now. All right. Um, add text. All right. You I can add text here. So let's go. Let's go. Are you are you there? Are you watching? I guess I have a lot of viewers right now. I am just assuming. And yeah, so we are live now, and I can see the live is kind of weird. I am watching my own live while I am on live, something like that. All right, so yeah, here you go. The next question. So, um, should I focus on a niche? Okay, so the next question is, should I focus on a niche? All right. So, of course, you have to focus on your niche because that's how people um, find you, or that's how people will get back to you or connect with you. For example, you are talking to your podcast, you have a podcast, and you are talking to consultants. So, of course, you should create contents more on how you can help consultants. You should create a content that are aligned on how you can help consultants. So, of course, in your podcast, you should talk um, to. You must have a guest that are consultants. So you have a focus that you have a podcast that talks about consultants. So when we talk about your podcast, the first thing that comes to our mind is like your audience mind is that this podcast, your podcast, talks about consultancy, like that, something like that. So you must have a, a niche and focus on your niche. Don't talk about anything else. You can expand soon or later, but if you are just starting out, you can just focus first on your niche. Like me, I am focused on having podcasters on my podcast. I talk all things podcastings. So people will not get confused by what I offer or to whom I'm talking about. So I can't just get on every people who want to be on my show, something like that. So you have to filter or focus on your niche. All right, and it's very important. I know you know about that. And how this is the third question. I have a third question here. So let's talk about this third question, and I'm going to um, paste it here. All right. So, how do I grow my podcast audience? Mm, of course, if you want to grow your podcast audience, there are two types of podcast audience. There are the podcasts who are more likely you can get by just listening to you for episodes. Like they go to your Apple account, your Spotify account, and they listen to you. But there are this kind of audience that are not investing much time on listening or watching the full episodes, but they have time on listening or watching your short form clips. So, first thing, you have to promote your clips on social media. How? By creating short form contents like clips, infographics, blogs that talks about your episode. All right, and those contents have link to your full episode. So if people wants to know more or want to learn more about your full episode, they just click the link and go to your full episodes. So that's how you can promote your full episodes by using short form contents through social media. All right, so you can tag your guest, um, um, repurpose your content through like promoting it to their audience, and of course by creating good and catchy titles, descriptions, not just like putting like episode 10 with something like this, and no more descriptions, what people can learn from the full episode. So you must create a title, what the episode is all about, and put a description wherein the audience can get a sneak peek on what's the episode is all about, what are the topics that is talked in the conversation, what are the takeaways that they can get or they expect on the full episodes, something like that. So they will engage, or your guest will repost your episode, because sometimes if you have a guest, of course you have a guest, this is true, okay, this is a harsh truth. you know um you have a guest on your podcast and not most of them are reposting the content that you create for your episode with them. There is some I have uh, a guest on my episodes that we talk about that. And one thing I learned that is that some of the guests don't see the content kind of um, connecting with him or finding value in the content that you create for your episode. All right. So you have to create contents that give value, of course, to your guests, that don't they don't hesitate to repost the contents that that you created for the episode, because it also helps you promote your episode, your podcast, and get more listeners or viewers in your full episode. Because it's very important that your guests are um engaging with the contents that you created for the episode. Like if you create infographics, you create clips for the episode, it's very important that your guest will engage with your content, because it will also boost the impressions, the engagement of the content. All right, so that's how you grow your podcast. You can create contents ahead of time, and like 1 week before, you have to share the clips or the contents to your guests so that they have time to review the contents and they can see, of course, which content they want to post, or contents that they don't want to go out. Okay, there are some guests that don't want to post contents about their episodes. So you have, before you upload contents, you have to give respect to the podcast guest, create contents, and share it um, to your of to your contents. So we have a comment here. Also, I think it's better to from L Brownie TV. Also, I think it's better to put keyframe or timestamp in the long form video. Of course, it's very important to put keyframe or timestamp on the long form video because some of the viewers, they just need some specific talking points they want to hear, they want to listen, they want to watch, something like that. And of course, some of them, they just want some of the information they want from the episode, and they can easily hover in the full video which part they want to watch or listen, something like that. So thanks for the comment, L. That is really important thing to do, to put keyframe and timestamp on the long form video to improve the retention of the viewers. All right. So um, let's talk about another question. Is social media important for um, for podcast growth? All right. Of course, social media is very important for your podcast growth. I know some that don't really um, repurpose their content on social media. They have another way of promoting their podcast. They kind of promoting it through other advertisement platform. But one thing I know in my experience, it's very important that you uh, promote your podcast on social media because social media is where most of your target audience are, and it can drive traffic to your full episodes. Like what I've said earlier, if you create clips from the long form video or the full episodes, if your audience watch the clips and they want to learn more, listen more, they will go to your long form episode. And it's because of the short form content that you created on social media. So if you keep on promoting your content on social media, your audience will become aware of the episodes that you are putting in the Spotify or Apple Podcast or in YouTube, because not most of them are aware if you are already um, putting out new episodes. And sometimes, even if they are aware, they are not interested because they just saw the episode title, something like that. But if you created clips, it can spark an interest to your audience that it will make your audience watch the full episodes, something like that. Clips, infographics. So it's very important. If depends on your target audience, and of course you have to build audience on your social media channels. For example, your Facebook account, Facebook page for your podcast. So your friends on your Facebook or the followers of your page must be, most of them are your target audience for your podcast. Here on your LinkedIn channel, your LinkedIn page. So every time you put short form contents on your LinkedIn page, they will see, and if they become interested with the clips, they will go to watch the full episode. All right, so social media is very important for your podcast growth. Of course, if you are a beginner and just starting out to build your presence as a podcaster, sharing your message, having guests. Of course, social media is very important also to get a guest. So let me share to you my experience as um, someone who started a podcast. So I started my podcast February. I don't have any network. I don't know any people who I can bring on my podcast before I start a podcast. So what I did is I promote my podcast, my content, my purpose of doing the podcast on LinkedIn. And guess what? In my first month on doing podcasts, I recorded 16 episodes, and I of course also declined some of recordings because or canceled and move some of my recordings because uh, it's kind of a lot for me on that month, and I need to move them because after you record, of course need to create contents out of it so that you can still continuously promote your episode. All right, and you must have a fixed time frame when are you are going to launch or upload your episode. For example, every Friday you are uploading podcast episode. Every Tuesday, something like that. So your audience already know when they can expect your new episode. All right. So something like that. Very small details that you have to follow when you're going to start a podcast because it builds trust of also to your audience. Mm, this is one. This question is really interesting. I have here another question. Um, how can I make my podcast stand out? All right. This question is really interesting because there are a lot of podcasts out there, millions of podcasts, but you don't necessarily need to stand out as a podcaster in all of those podcasters, out of those podcasters. You need to stand out in your niche. Who are your target audience? When we talk about, for example, consult accountancy, when we talk about consultants, coaches, who is the podcaster that stand out on that niche? Career podcasting, about leadership podcasting, who stand out on that niche. So you don't need to really a very great podcaster. You just need um, to show what your purpose are. Why are you podcasting? What is your mission with doing your podcast? How are you going to give value using your podcast? So how can you make your podcast stand out? Number one is you just have to think of your branding. It's very basic. If you're going to start a podcast, you must need branding. Who are you? Like, first thing is, let's start with the color. What is your color? Like, brand color. Are you yellow today and next month you are green? Like that. So you must be consistent when it comes to your color. That is your brand. So it's very important. You must have a brand color. It's very simple, but it creates value and impact on your podcast. Number two, and additionally, it will make you how you stand out when people saw yellow and podcasting. It will know if they will already know it's you. It's how you stand out. All right. So high quality recordings, not just recording like moving or into different backgrounds, not very clear audio. Not, you don't need much very clear audio, but you must invest in the first time. You don't need to invest much on very expensive tools on podcasting. Just need to show up, and you can upgrade soon. All right, but you need to invest on high quality microphone, camera, so you are clear. Because if you are in the position of a viewer or an audience, you don't want to watch a video that is very blurred with not really good audio, like it's kind of cracking in your ear. Okay, so it it kind of basic things that you have to invest on for you to stand out in a podcast. And the other thing I highly suggest is be authentic for who you are, why you are doing a podcast, how how are you able to help your audience with your podcast, how are you giving value through your podcast. So be authentic, show who you are, because people connect with people, all right? And people love people who are honest, authentic, showing who they are, something like that. And always make your audience feel like they are getting value from what you are doing, from what you are saying, from who you are bringing into the show, because they are going to invest time in listening and watching your full episode. So, of course, they should or they must get value from you for the next couple of 30 minutes watching and listening from your podcast, so that on the next episode they will still come back and listen from you. All right, so just keep, I think, and I believe you just need to keep on doing it repeatedly, consistently, show up, and be true to your promises that you are going to be consistent, create engaging content, bring value, talk with your guest, authentic, be authentic. Yeah, that's it. Just have to um okay. I have a question here. Do you think for podcast you should only have one channel? I have another question here from El Brownie TV. Do you think for podcasts you should only have one channel? I mean one channel just for shorts and long term videos, uh and other for only live stream, or just have one channel because you're just starting out. If you are just starting out, it's for me it's really important that you have um one channel for a specific purpose of content, because each content have a strength. For example, long form contents are good in YouTube, on YouTube. Short form contents are good for LinkedIn, depending on where your target audience are. Okay, for shorts you can upload on YouTube, full videos you can upload on YouTube. For live streaming, you can do it on YouTube, LinkedIn, and on Facebook, and on other social platform where your target audience are. So it is always depends on where your target audience are. All right. Even if you're just starting out, you need to have a specific channel where you intentionally doing or uploading your content. All right. So um, I still have a minute before um, we end this live stream. So This my last question: what software should I use to edit my podcast? I should add um, what software should you use to record and edit your podcast? So I'm using right now Riverside. Riverside is one of the best tool for podcasters. Of course, if you are beginners or even if you already have podcast, try Riverside. Riverside is where you can record, live stream in high quality video, something like this. Even if you have experienced slow internet connection, when you download the raw video files, it's kind of still clear and in high quality. And at the same time, if you experience lag or connection problem with your guest, it has a capability of downloading the the raw videos when uh, the the interruption start. So you will upload the contents, the raw video, where which part, like in 15 minutes your guest get lost, something like that. So something like that, there are a lot of interesting features here on Riverside. Other thing is you can edit your full episode here on Riverside. You can create clips. Of course, you can create clips. You can edit. You can add audio. You can a lot of things like overlay. It's when we talk about editing for podcast, you can do it here on Riverside. You can have transcriptions, something like that. So it's kind of all in one. So I suggest you give it a try. All right. So the good thing here, I for me, is you can live stream at the same time, and you can create different studios. Like you have a studio for if you are offering consultation or one-on-one call, you can do you can have a separate studio for um, one-on-one calls. You can have a separate studio for your um, recording your episodes, and you have a separate studio for doing the live. So it's really, it's really great, and it's kind of organized, and you can do different kind of tweaks depending on the studio that you have. All right, and you can have a branding here. So yeah, just give it a try. So thank you so much for to all, for those who's going to watch this video, even if the live is already ended. And to those who commented, I see that the one who commented is from YouTube. So thank you so much. I appreciate the questions, curiosity to ask questions, and to those who's going to get value from this. I hope you apply it on your podcast if you already have, and if you are thinking of starting your own podcast, feel free to reach out, and I can help you start your podcast from scratch, from building your brand logos, colors, theme, something like that, until we launch your podcast. I can help you with that. So feel free to reach out, and have a great day. That's all for today. See you the next Wednesday. Bye bye.